Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We'll get started in just a moment while individuals are still making their way into the webinar room. But while we give them a few seconds, for those who are here, please, in your webinar panels area, you'll see a chat or questions area. And if you could toggle there and feel free to introduce yourself, let us know your name, the name of your business, and even the industry that you're in. It's always great to see who we have on the call. So again, you should see questions or chats, and then just go there, type in your name, the name of your business, and the industry, and then we'll be able to see it on our end. And it's really helpful too, because then as we continue to move forward through today's session, we can make even more relatable examples as we go through our content to make that helpful. Awesome, great. So I'm seeing a few come through. Thank you very much. Please do continue to do that. And I think we've got a good number here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to our webinar today, Video Marketing 101, How to Promote Your Business Like a Pro. If this is your first time joining a Local IQ webinar, again, welcome, and allow me to introduce you to Local IQ. We are an award-winning multi-channel digital marketing agency that specializes in local marketing. So our digital marketing specialists help hundreds of businesses with SEO, pay-per-click advertising, paid social display advertising, website design, and so much more, even video marketing, which is what we're going to talk about today. We are part of the News Quest Media Group, and so we're able to give businesses access to a network of more than 200 trusted news brands in more than 35 locations across the UK, both in print and online. So we are the marketing agency that is near you and at the heart of the community. We've got a really great session planned for you today. In fact, here's our agenda. Today we're going to discuss topics such as what is video marketing, recent video marketing trends, types of videos that your business can use for marketing, and then we've got our experts who are introduced in just a moment who are going to share tips for an effective video marketing strategy, tips to make professional videos, and then the best practices for video content, and then repurposing all those videos across multiple platforms, because there are so many different ways and places businesses can share these days. They're going to give us the secrets on how we can record one time and then distribute across the platforms. And so the experts that we have from the Local IQ video team include Josh Holmes and Harry Smith. Josh and Harry, welcome. Will you all take a moment and just tell us a little bit about your background and what you all do here at Local IQ?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Holmes. I work here at Local IQ as head of digital advertising. I've been in the media industry for roughly 10 years now across different departments, different structures and whatnot. I've got a true passion for video, and I think it's a great fit for our company to help local businesses get down this video journey.
And I'm Harry, I'm the video production manager at Local IQ. I think very similar to Josh, I've been in and around video production for nearly 10 years now. I've worked as a freelancer, I've worked for different agencies, always kind of around video and the marketing sphere as well, so making a video and getting it out in front of people before eventually landing at Local IQ and working with Josh and the team here.
Awesome. Well, Josh and Harry, thank you very much for joining us today. I know we are going to be in great hands, and you all are going to share some very helpful and useful tips for those who are in attendance today. And just some background housekeeping things to note for all of those who are watching today. The recording of today's webinar, as well as the PowerPoint slides that we're using, will be sent to you in an email within 24 hours. So feel free, as you're taking notes, just remember that we'll send you all the slides that we're using. And periodically throughout our slides, we've got links back to helpful articles as well as case studies throughout our website. So you'll also be able to click through once you receive the slides. And if you have any questions as we go through, we're going to try to cover a lot within the next 40 minutes or so. But if you have questions, you don't have to wait until the end to send them through. Go ahead and send them through in that questions chat area that you just used to introduce yourself, and we'll keep an eye on those and make sure that as many of those questions get answered as possible. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and jump into our content, Josh and Harry. And I think, the first thing to talk about is what is video marketing, so that way we all have a good foundational understanding as to what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so it sounds very simple. I think everyone's got a grasp of what video marketing is, but I think the main thing to realize here that there's a difference between TV advertising and online video. There's a difference in people's attention spans and how fast you've got to grab their attention and keep it. I always like to say the in-between between TV and online was a bit like QVC and the shopping channels. They showed people using products. It might have even just been opening and closing a drawer, but just seeing someone use a product tends to make people trigger that buying signal. And I think there's been elements of that are used online now in online video.
That makes sense. And I never really thought about that too, the impact of QVC, but that is what really makes it very effective and successful, is that people can see products being used in real time. And so it's helpful for them to kind of see themselves using that product as well. So if that's more of a generalized view of video marketing, can you give us a little bit more of a descriptive view and talk about maybe some of the advantages of video marketing for businesses?
Yeah, sure. So I guess in an actual description, video marketing is a style of strategy to market your business, whether that be a product, service, or just brand awareness or brand building. Shareability, sharing it on different platforms. You can use television, you can use social, you can use websites, or even platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion that are set up for video themselves. Guess there's a few key elements around it. Engagement, videos online are the highest of all engagement rates because you can watch it, you can take it in. Someone once said to me, videos worth 1,000 words, etc., etc. You can compel messages in such a better manner. Brand awareness, when people see videos, they know your brand a lot more, especially when it's in a nice format and it's good and visually appealing, and you can really hit your target audience. Trust, you can build trust yourselves. Videos can be educational or inform people, and it positions your brand or people within your brand as trustworthy and credible. Conversion rates, we've seen from our data that videos can increase conversion rates significantly. And it can be used along that buying funnel as well, every step of the way. Sorry, Harry, I was putting your hand in your face there. Along the step of the way, they can be used for different reasons to help turbocharge your conversion rates. We know that videos, when used from an SEO point of view, websites with videos on tend to get some sort of boost on SEO. Not a complete science, but we do see a trend there of websites that utilize video on them. Shareability. When people see something they like, especially a video, they love to share it across social. Video is a great way to get your brand around some sort of viral or shareable content as well. And then finally, analytics and insights. So you can get so much data from a video that's been posted online, whether that be the audience data, how long they watched it for, when people watched it on mute or without mute. There's a lot of stuff you can use to help shape what you do in the future from the video you've posted as well.
Thanks for sharing those, Josh. Really good benefits there that businesses can receive from implementing video into their strategy. Let's talk for a second about trends, because each year Local IQ surveys hundreds of businesses across the UK in our UK State of Digital Marketing report. And there were two stats that I wanted to pull from the last 2024 report. The first stat is that video is among the top 3 content formats that delivers the highest ROI. It came in third only to blogs as well as image content, which makes sense, right? Because you have 2 visuals, content formats in blogs and images, and then the blogs are very descriptive. Blogs can be informative and educational as well, which is a good supplement. And I guess when you put those 2 together, it kind of also corresponds to what you mentioned earlier, in that people take action when they can see a product and understand it as well. And so is that something that you all see? Does this statistic resonate, and is it consistent with what you all are seeing in this space too?
Definitely. I mean, when you think about just you as a person, how much you see video in day-to-day life, I dare say you could open up any social media platform now, within 2 to 3 scrolls, you're going to get a video. It's the same for our clients. They're seeing video, they're realizing they need to do more of it, but I guess we're just helping them along the journey, and they're seeing the results from that as well.
Cool, good to know. And the other stat that we that's worth mentioning from our 2024 UK State of Digital Marketing report is this one: more than 40% of UK businesses include video as part of their content marketing strategy. Josh, here, why do you think that is? And again, are you seeing the same thing in the spaces that you're working in?
I guess it kind of tags on to what I just said, but the more businesses that use video, the more businesses see that happening and have to jump on the bandwagon as well. So we're getting to a point where, like I said, on social media, you can see a lot of videos on there, but it's becoming increasingly harder to stand out because there's so much on there. And I think a lot of people are realizing this, and we're seeing much more creative efforts on there, which is great to see.
It almost feels low, that 40%, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can see that in the next few years going to 50, 60% very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
More and more businesses will be adopting it.
Yeah, I could see that to be the same as well. All right, so now that we kind of know what video marketing is, and we understand the benefits and why it's important, more important than ever for businesses to consider video marketing as a part of their strategy, let's take a look at why, or the different types of videos that businesses can incorporate into their marketing mix.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about video a lot, but I think, we can talk about it all day, but at the end of the day, you're going to be sat there thinking, well, what is the video going to be? What can I actually do? And there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to creating video content, including, but not limited to, explainer videos. I think that's kind of in the title. It's a video that would explain a complex product or service. It can put you forwards as being very credible and trustworthy. You're the experts that are there to explain something to your consumers. Along the same lines, product demos. I think now even what you would think should be the most simple household objects, like a really high-tech vacuum cleaner or washing machine, I almost feel like you need product demos for these sorts of things now. And a video is a really tangible way of being able to get that information across as to how you actually use a product, seeing someone in real time, pressing buttons and using touch screens, all that kind of thing. And while you can explain a service and demo a product, the strongest form of marketing for any business is going to be the things that your consumers are saying about you. So customer testimonials as well, putting those in a video format, having your real audience, your real customers there in a video, talking about how amazing your service or product was. And I don't think anything can really beat that.
Yeah, I agree. How-to videos coming on off the back of what you said. I feel like the age of the instruction booklet is slowly dying. We're buying products and we're like, I'll jump to YouTube and I'll figure out how to do this and how it works. So it's a real easy way for you to, again, become the leader in that field and actually do a how-to video. Could be DIY, whatever you like. Live streaming. So, there's a lot of platforms that offer this now. TikTok offers it, Instagram, Facebook, I'm sure there's many more, YouTube. I think with live streaming, it's possible. It's just something you need to test and play around with and kind of accept that unless you do the real high-end version of it, it's going to be quite just standard looking, but that's fine. Event videos. Now I speak to a lot of clients who go to a lot of events and maybe sponsor or put on events. And I'm always just like, well, if you're there and you've put the effort and time into it, you should definitely get video content from it. It doesn't have to be the full bells and whistles of the event, but it could be snippets, the same way you would take photographs whenever you go anywhere. Why not just take the video as well?
Yeah, and along the same sort of lines, I mean, interviews is a really, really simple form of content that you can create that can be really instructional, informative. It can feature industry experts or your own staff and colleagues talking about certain services that you offer. It could be anything like that. It really humanizes your brand by putting a face to it and putting a voice to it. There's nothing stronger than that. Animated videos is another one. Again, a lot of these are about simplifying complicated concepts. And I think animated videos are a really good way of taking something that can be quite a daunting subject or a quite complex concept and really sort of stripping it back with much friendlier imagery than real-time video might offer. And then finally, you've also got user-generated content. So it's all well and good creating all of this professional content for ourselves, but also what are your audience creating? So I always think that, you know, the most powerful form of marketing is sort of seeing what your peers are doing. If you're in the audience, if I'm in the market for, I don't know, a car, for example, if I see people on TikTok or Instagram that are very similar to myself, that are in my demographic, and they're talking very positively about that car or about that product, that's going to be a really, really strong sell for me.
Wow. You know, there are so many different types of videos that businesses can create. I'm sure it would take a lot of resources to do them all. And then there are so many different places that these videos can go as well. Where and how, I guess the question is, yeah, where and how would you all suggest a business start?
Yeah, it is the golden question, isn't it? How do I start? Takes us to the next section, really, which is about a video marketing strategy. Now, that can sound quite daunting at first. You know, how do I write a strategy? A strategy is whatever you feel comfortable with. That's the first thing to remember. It doesn't necessarily have to be a full, huge document. However, there is certain steps you can take. The first step you would take in any strategy, really, is to define your own goals and your objectives. What do you want to get from this? Why are you doing this in the first place? What's the reason? Alongside that, it says there your audience. When it comes to video, you should always think about who's going to watch it. They might be different to who you are. They might enjoy different styles of content. So you've got to have that different approach from whatever audience you're targeting. There's something called a buyer persona, which is a fancy term, really, but it's to identify, like I said there, the person who you want to watch the video. Just like I just previously said, that could be anyone in your target audience, but there could be different personas in your audience, and you can tailor video content to each persona. And again, it does sound a bit, you know, up in the air. It only takes you sitting down and realizing, who are our customers? Let's create a persona for each one of them. Your goals. So, you know, if you do anything and there's no goals behind it, how are you going to figure out if it was a success or not? Your goals could be to get views on a video. They could be to increase sales. They could be to increase social likes on one of your pages. But if you don't have that goal at the start, it's going to be pretty difficult to write a strategy around how you're gonna measure it. We've got blog on our website about buyer personas, I believe, Brandon, which is a link through there, isn't it?
Yeah, we do. So when the audience gets this slide, they can click through this link, and if you need help with understanding what a buyer persona is or how to create it, we've got that included. And I think also a good example here, Josh, here, if you all can elaborate on too, like sometimes businesses may have several different audiences, and I think the education sector is one of such. Can you all kind of elaborate on, you know, how this would look for like an educational institution, one business, but several different audiences, and trying to create a video for like pretty much one size fits all if possible?
That's a great example of the buyer persona and target audience. I guess education sectors, you know, they've got to influence different people along that journey. They've got to influence the potential students, but also the decision makers who are around that student, the parents, the guardians, or potentially even grandparents, whatever. So they've got essentially a one size fits all video might not actually work for them. They might not want to do a brand video that appeals to everyone. They might want to shoot a generic media day where they get as much footage as possible, and from that media day pull two separate edits. One that's focused around the influencers, the parents, the guardians, and one that's focused around the potential students. It's a great example of the different audiences.
Yeah, good example there. All right, cool. So that's number one, establishing your goals and identify your audience, like the first thing that you should do when you're creating a video strategy for your business. And how about the next one? I think here you're going to take us through this one.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, there's a lot to think about there when you're kind of defining what the video is going to be, who it's going to be for, and that's kind of going to lead us into formulating an actual video marketing plan. So video is really no different to anything else. You guys will all be familiar with marketing plans already. This is something you'll be spending time with day to day, and video is no different. So it's about how can we approach a marketing plan that revolves around video? I think the two things that you're always going to start with are deciding the content type that you're going to produce. So we've gone through a few there already, you know, whether it's long form content, short form content. A few of the examples we've mentioned, is it customer testimonials, is it product demos, whatever it might be. And also alongside that, you're going to be starting to think about the actual relevant platforms that that content is going to sit on. So I think that's a very circular conversation. I think that the content type that you're going to produce is going to influence the relevant platforms, and the platforms you want to use is going to influence the content type. But I think thinking about those is always the first step in the plan, is what am I going to create and where is it going to go? I think that it's also really helpful to look at this stage into keyword research as well, which probably links back to what you've just talked about, Josh, about narrowing down kind of what you're going to create. Is it like a good starting point is keyword research?
Yeah, I mean, when we first approached this, we did think that keyword research is usually used around PPC and Google style campaigns. It's actually a really clever way to help shape what you're going to do for your ideas behind your videos. So if you're looking at what your audience are searching for and what kind of questions that they're asking of Google or searching for on Google, you can help create videos that answer those questions or meet the needs of what they want. It's a really simple way to just get free ideas, really. But as an example, you might find that someone is searching for how to build X product that you sell, so you could do a video on how to build that as the simplest example there.
I think we always talk about with video, it's trying not to treat it like it's necessarily, there are things that are different about it, but trying not to treat it as if it's completely different, this alien thing to your marketing plan. So keyword research is undoubtedly something that a lot of people here will probably already do, and it can be used with video. Very similar to that is establishing a content calendar. You'll have content calendars already. When and where am I posting, and how frequent am I posting? Video is very similar. So you might be thinking about short form content that might be posted a lot more frequently, whereas long form content might be a lot less frequent.
No, good points there. And before we go on to the next one, just a reminder to everyone that's watching, feel free to send in any questions that you have along the way to Josh and Harry. Just go to the questions chat area of the webinar panel there, and then we'll make sure we answer those towards the end of our session today. And then also for those that have recently joined us, today's webinar recording, as well as the slides that we're going through, will be emailed to you within 24 hours. So you'll be able to go through and click on things like this keyword research here. It takes you to an article, a blog on our website that talks about how to conduct effective keyword research for your business, not just for paid search or SEO strategies, but as Josh and Harry just shared with us, it can also be used for your video marketing strategies as well. Who knew? All right, awesome. So the next tip for effective video marketing strategy, I think it has something to do with scripting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, we've talked about the content plan and the types of videos that you're going to create, but sometimes the most difficult step is just actually getting started with creating that content, right? So where do we start? It's going to be with a script. Now, when we say script, it can sound really daunting at first. Don't picture a 100-page document, right? That's not what we're talking about. It can be as simple as a few bullet points. So you're going to start off with outlining that script. So just a basic structured outline. What do you want this video to include? What do you want the messaging to be? I think with video, and I think this is common along many forms of content nowadays, but especially with video, is maintaining a really conversational tone is so important. You don't want to put people off with loads of jargon and technical language. It's the fastest thing that will make someone think, hang on, this is a bit scary, this is a bit daunting, I'm not ready to watch this right now. So you want to try and have a conversational tone and a lot of personality in your videos. And hooking the audience, that's really, really important. We know how many distractions there are out there right now. If I've got my phone in my hand, there's a million different apps, there's a million different things I can be doing on there. So we want to hook people within those first few frames, those first few seconds, and keep them sticking around with the video. But just as important as hooking them is having a really clear call to action. So while we might get them to stay and we might get them to watch the video, it's making sure that they take away the right information from that video. Once they've watched it, they know exactly what they need to do next. It's always really helpful as well when you're writing a script is that Video is about showing and not just telling, so include visual direction as well. Whether you're making the video yourself or you're working with a video production team, I always ask, right, first off, what is the message of the video? What's the story? But also, what actually are we going to see on screen? So it's really helpful to have visual direction to get a really good idea of what we're going to visually see in the video. Also, minding your timing, really, really important. We've talked about the different types of content and how long and how short different types of content are. When you're writing a script, it's no good spending days and days writing a 10-page script if you're actually going to be making a 15-second TikTok video. So thinking about timing is really, really crucial when you're putting that script together. And finally, the most important step, I think, is soliciting feedback. It's something that we try and do all the time. I personally always try and do it is peer review. You know, that's all it is getting somebody to look at that video. It's probably the best way to do quality control as well. There's things that you might miss, there's things that you might not have included, and having stakeholders in that project or colleagues or even friends and family looking at that script and, you know, giving their feedback might push you in the right direction of how to tweak it and improve it and just make the best video that you possibly can.
This is the daunting bit, I guess. The final stage is to shoot and edit, and this is the bit where people think, oh, this can get quite intense. The answer is it actually is quite intense. If you want to be in that real top level, high quality video stratosphere, it takes years of training. It is possible to do, but it does take years of training. And it would be stupid of me not to mention the fact that we are a video production company. We work with hundreds of clients across the UK, across so many different sectors, and that's why it's so enjoyable being in this role, because we're not just doing one single sector. I think most people associate video production with extremely high cost as well, which can be true. But as times change, you know, equipment becomes more affordable, smaller teams don't need to be these huge production teams anymore. And I think I can genuinely say that we are quite cost effective in our industry. And the best part about it is, if you really want us to come in and have a go or give you some ideas, it's completely free to get a quote. The conversation is free, and you can choose to go ahead or just chat video with us. And there's a link in this presentation to get that as well.
Cool. Thanks for mentioning that, Josh. And yep, I'm going to go ahead and send that in our chat thread as well, just in case anyone wants to go ahead and move forward with that, because like you said, it doesn't hurt just to get a quote, and they probably will be surprised that it's not as expensive as you may think, and you could just save yourself some headache already from just from the start. So thanks for sharing those tips with us. We'll move into the next section. So, you know, even though you know, we've got these tips, it can still be a little hard to actually put into practice and begin making the video for yourself, especially those who try to do a little bit more in-house. So I think this next section talks about, you know, some tips and tricks that our audience can implement if they are going to try to move forward and do some bits themselves. Can y'all take us through, I guess, the secret ingredients for success here?
Definitely, yeah. I think, like I say, I mean, there's a lot that can go into it, but whether you implement all these tips or even just a select few of them, these can be some quite simple tips that can just elevate the production quality of whatever it is you're going to create, whatever type of video it is. First off, really simple, really easy one is getting a tripod. Okay, so that just immediately can just raise the production value of a video. A really telltale sign of bad production that we've probably all seen at some point is shaky videos when we're walking around and the camera's wobbling and you can't really see what's going on. A tripod can just eliminate that. And it's not a specialized piece of equipment either, really affordable. You go on Amazon, type in tripod, you'll find tripods for phones or cameras, whatever you've got access to. There will be options out there that are really affordable and a really simple tip that can just elevate the quality of what you're doing. And I said phones, and that is genuine. Using a smartphone camera is also a really, really good tip. I mean, don't feel put off and think that you need to have the biggest, most expensive camera in the room. I mean, I shoot a lot of my own content on phones as well when we're doing behind the scenes stuff and things like that. And sometimes the best camera is just the one that you've got with you right now that's in your pocket all the time. And every smartphone manufacturer pretty much focuses on their cameras nowadays as well. Never mind in the last 10 years, but in the last 5 years as well, cameras have become so advanced on phones. And out of the box, they're good, but with a couple of little tweaks, you can make them even better. So this is screenshots from an iPhone menu, but there'll be equivalents on whatever device you're using. And go into the camera settings and just switch from 1080p to 4K. Most iPhones from the last few years will have a 4K option, and that will just drastically improve the quality of what you're producing. A lot now have cinematic modes and things like that, but I think my iPhone's a little bit out of date for that, so I don't have cinematic mode just yet, but a lot of people will. And another quick tip as well is in the composition section there, and again, every phone will have something like this, is an option for the grid. And if you turn that on, that will really help you learn and use framing techniques as well, which will look a little bit something like this on the next slide, where we can see what the grid will look like when it's switched on. And that allows you to very easily use a technique called the rule of thirds. Again, this is not complicated stuff. It's super easy to use. Think about, if you're looking at this image here where this guy is sat, we can see that his eye line is on the upper third and is on the left line that's vertically down the screen. And it can be on the left, be on the right, it doesn't matter. But immediately we see there that we're avoiding the kind of quite amateurish thing of sort of chopping off the top of someone's head or having them really low in frame so they've got loads of room above them. It's a really simple way to just switch that on, and all of a sudden you've unlocked this ability to frame up your subject in a really, really professional way. Another thing is lighting, and lighting is one of the things that I think seems the most daunting. It's like, oh, right, okay, I bought a tripod and now I've got to go out and get lights and all this stuff. And actually, sometimes it can just be the light that's in the room with you right now. So again, in this image, this guy's really silhouetted, he's looking really dark because he's got a window behind him to his right that's lighting up the space behind him, so we can't really see his facial features. Just by taking that subject and moving him over to the left side of the room so the window's facing on him, we get something like this. I always think about how many times have we been on a Teams call and somebody's got the window directly behind them and they're silhouetted and you can't see their face properly. That's what we're looking to avoid. Just spin round. Natural light is a great source of lighting. So whenever you're going to shoot a video, use those tips and implement some natural lighting that you've got access to. Pop a chair in front of the window. The production quality, you will just notice a dramatic difference straight away. And that's a lot of visual elements. But I think one thing that people always ignore, I don't know if you agree with this in your conversations, people often ignore the kind of audio element as well. Video is just 50% of it at the end of the day. How would you kind of point people towards just sort of simply enhancing their audio?
It follows the same kind of thoughts that you have there. When you walk into a room, you know where the light's coming from.
Yeah.
And I've tried to find a photograph here of CGI of a room that I think is an audio nightmare. I'd walk into that room there and think this is not going to work at all unless I've got real great microphones. And there's a few reasons behind that. There is minimal soft furnishings in there. Soft furnishings help absorb the sound and stop it bouncing around the room. We've got a shiny floor, a huge glass panel down the side, and just really brittle furniture in there. So instead of saying like, there's a way to improve audio, it could just be about where you do it.
Yeah.
I'd walk in that room and go, you know what, this isn't going to work. We need to go to a different room. And again, I tried to find the dream room, I think, for audio. It's a bit of a palatial style, but you can see the difference here. There is soft furnishings, big curtains hanging down there, lots of things that are going to stop the sound from bouncing around and creating this echoey, boomy sound. iPhones, this is, again, a slight tip. You can zoom in on your iPhone, press the 2 times or 3 times zoom, and it actually uses the zoom mic as well. It's not a physical thing, but it does concentrate the audio on where you've zoomed in on. So you might want to step back from your subject, zoom in, and hopefully just narrow down that audio to your subject. But it's about walking into rooms and analyzing them, which I'm hoping after this call people will be able to do.
Yeah, no, those are all really great tips, and I'm guilty of that, not going to the advanced settings of the features. Those cell phones that we have, the smartphones, have so many different capabilities. We're probably only using like 1 to 10% of what they're fully capable of. So appreciate you all giving us that guidance into how we can really maximize our investment, because even our smartphones these days are an investment that we can use for ourselves, but even for our businesses. All right, so thank you all for sharing those tips on how to make a professional video. you really broke it down there. But maybe just so that we can generalize it and summarize some things, let's talk about just in general best practices for video content, things that we can follow no matter what type of video we're recording, no matter what type of device or smartphone we're using. Just some general insights here. What would you all say?
Yeah, I think these are some best practices that, kind of go for, like you say, any type of content that you're creating, just things to keep in mind. So number one is keeping it concise. And I think that kind of links in with the next one as well, which is keeping it clear. So concise and clear messaging, focus on what you need the audience to take away. Don't try and cram everything into a 10-second TikTok or a 10-second Instagram reel. Just focus on exactly what you need to say. And with that, you're also going to tell a story, whether it's 15 seconds long or it's 15 minutes long. You're essentially telling a narrative. It sounds quite dramatic, but it's really not. It's just about what is it that people take away.
Branding wise, think about what reflects your brand. It could be colors, it could be a certain tagline, but use those brand elements in your video. Just have a little bit of thought around that. And as we mentioned before, you can use an iPhone to produce video nowadays, but you can also opt for the higher end production quality. It is always going to be the best when the production quality is super high. And if you can't film that, you could just invest in some good stock footage if you want to fill out your videos. Captions. How many times have you been sat on public transport and you've watched a video and you don't want to turn the sound on? A lot of people consume videos now on mute. So you can either add captions into your videos or you can use an auto caption software. I know sometimes YouTube has the ability to click them on as well, but bear that in mind. Captions and accessibility is super important. And then finally, there should be a call to action around every video. Like I said before, that could just be like the post. It could be give us a follow on Instagram. It could be visit our website to view our sale. But if every video has a call to action, then you are down the right track.
That's cool. And in this next section, I just kind of want to talk about best practices for repurposing. I liked how you all mentioned, I'm not sure if our audience caught it, but when you work with Local IQ's video team, Josh and here, you all mentioned that you create a media day, a day where you come out 4 or 5 hours or however many hours it is that you all have agreed upon, and you just film and record. And then you take those videos and you slice them for different ways that the client may use them. And so I think that's a really great strategy. So that way, a client doesn't have to spend 2 hours every day recording content, because right, you've got to focus on your business. You've got a business to run. You really can't. So what you do is you do a media day, set that day aside to record content, and then you use that content calendar like you all mentioned earlier, and you schedule it out. And when you schedule it out, the videos, then you can distribute it across all the channels that might exist that your business has a presence on. So I guess in this, I think what will be the last segment of the webinar before we go into our Q&A section, can you all talk very quickly about just tips for repurposing the videos across multiple platforms for businesses that are watching?
Definitely, yeah. There can be a lot to think about, and it can be quite daunting thinking about how you kind of hit all these platforms that you need to. And there's a cheat sheet there, which is really helpful. But again, even that, you might look at it and think, hang on, that's a lot of numbers, a lot of file size, there's a lot of stuff to think about. The main thing is just getting started with it, is just getting started with thinking about, even at the most basic level, right, long form content, that works really well on YouTube, short form content, that works really well on TikTok and Instagram Reels. If you are looking at that cheat sheet, as helpful as it might be, and thinking, yeah, that's pretty daunting, that's actually a lot to think about to make sure that it's all right and that it's all optimized for every platform I want to use, there is also a really handy blog post on the Local IQ UK website about repurposing video content across all your channels. So again, that might just give you the nudge in the right direction and a little bit more information when you're thinking about, right, how do I take all this footage and make sure that it's right for TikTok and it's right for YouTube and it's right for wherever else you're going to be using.
Great shout there, Josh here. Appreciate that. And then I want to encourage you. So we're going to be moving to our Q&A segment now in the next 5 minutes here. When you get the slide, you're going to have an opportunity to click through, again, like you mentioned, this blog and all these other resources. And then here too, we have a video, an example video that Josh and here you all created. I won't play the audio here. I'll just play it in the background. But I mean, if you all can just tell us very quickly about what it was like working with this client, I think that could be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, these are a great client of ours. We've got a fantastic relationship with them. They've really utilized video in a sector where you wouldn't particularly think it was a good fit for video. It's agriculture and machinery, really, and they do loads amount of stuff. But what they've done is they started with a brand video, and they've gone on to do so many different styles, recruitment, a day in the life of. They've even done a small 10-minute TV episode, really, of a race car driver driving their tractors. They have really, really gone to town on it, and it's really working for them, to the point where their own suppliers are asking to do videos through us and them now. It's brilliant to see, and recommend watching the video.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And no, I think that's really great to see too, is in that, videos can be used across industries, even if it's big, bulky machinery, agriculture type machinery, construction type, or, if it's businesses that people may interact with every day, like, an educational institution, like an academy or school. So great example there. Again, everyone can click through that. We've got some questions that are coming along, so we're going to move to that. But just a quick wrap up. Here's everything that we covered today. Josh and here, I really appreciate y'all for taking us through these things, like what is video marketing, the recent video marketing trends, and the best practices and the tips that we can incorporate from creating our strategy to actually implementing the video. And so I really hope that everyone was able to pull away at least one or two things that you can then begin to implement even today as you're creating video or thinking about the video strategy for your business. But also, I want to emphasize that you can avoid the hassle and just reach out to our team to see what it could be like if you worked with the Local IQ video team for the next video project that you have for your business. Josh, Harry, anything you want to add there that people should really consider?
Yeah, I mean, we're great guys. Have a chat with us. We're friendly. We love ideas. We love throwing ideas back and forth. You might think that there isn't anything that you can do around your business, and that's a great test for us. I'd recommend just getting a quote and let's see what we can do for you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the sector is. There's always something that you can do with video, so we're always open to that conversation.
Cool. Doesn't hurt. You have nothing to lose just to get the quote there and see what it's like. Awesome. Thanks for that. So we do have a few quick questions that I want to see if we can answer in the next 3 to 5 minutes here. We've got a question from Lindsay. Lindsay asks, what are the rules around music use on like Instagram, CapCut, etc., if it's in the app and not used for an actual ad?
It's a bit of a minefield, isn't it? When you're kind of producing any content for your business, there's an argument to be made that it is inherently advertising. And a lot of times when you upload stuff to platforms, well, you might have noticed in the past that if you upload copyrighted music to YouTube or Facebook, it automatically mutes it. I think we often move in the direction of avoiding the hassle, playing it quite safe. There are so many libraries available now of copyright-free music, and don't run for the hills when you hear copyright-free music. It doesn't have to be as cheesy as it is in your head. There are so many libraries out there of stuff that sounds like, I mean, quote, real music. We use it every day in our videos, and it is really good. But yeah, I think while there are options and ways around it, I think sometimes it is just a bit of a minefield, and best to kind of play it safe with that sort of thing, I would say.
I agree, definitely.
Cool, thank you for that. There's nothing worse than working so hard on a video, uploading it to YouTube, only for YouTube to then mute your video because you've got copyright content. And also, when you talk about that, added music and other videos that you incorporate into your video, typically, if you do it yourself, those are added costs that your business has to consider. But again, it will be included in the package that you would have when you work with a Local IQ. One other question that came in from Angela. We are a small wealth management firm with a relatively small budget and limited resources. Can you suggest any video that would have maximum impact with reasonably low effort?
I won't be the one to say that it would be reasonably low effort. It depends on each individual business, but I kind of think for any small firm, word of mouth is probably going to be the most important thing for yourself.
Yeah.
And when we talk about word of mouth, immediately my mind goes to customer testimonials, that kind of thing. So again, the effort depends on if you've got those customers, that I'm sure you will, that you can think of. Any firm will have those. Yet I had a great experience with XYZ client, maybe we could get them to be in the video. I think that would have the most impact, and all it would really take is getting someone to sit in front of camera and talk about how great their experience was with your company.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. And I guess you could go one step further, and you could do some sort of explainer video that says why you might need that service, wealth management. It might not be an area people have considered, but when they hear you explain it, they might think, you know what, I do want a conversation. So the two there, the customer testimonials and explainers, very, very simple place to start, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Good shout there. Thank you all very much, Josh and Harry, for taking the time to join with us again. Very helpful tips, easy to apply. And if we want to press a further easy button, I know that we can reach out to you and the Local IQ video team as well for more help. Want to encourage everyone that's watching, hopefully you found this helpful. We have a host of other webinars as well on our website. You can take a look there and watch them on demand, or you can register to watch the next webinar that we have live across a lot of different topics in the area of digital marketing. So feel free to do that. We also have other things like our newsletter that you can also subscribe to on our website. When you close out today's webinar, feel free to take that quick survey and let us know how we did, how you felt the content and the pace was for this webinar. It helps us as we're planning for our future sessions. And you can even take that opportunity as well to raise your hand and let us know if you'd like to take the conversation today about video or your digital marketing strategy forward, and we'll make sure that we get in touch. So again, thank you for taking time with us today. Josh, Harry, massive appreciation to you both, and look forward to seeing everyone on our next webinar. Talk to you soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.